Before we begin, I want to take a moment to set a few things in place. Everything shared on the Pillars of Wisdom podcast reflects the personal thoughts, experiences, stories, and reflections of the individual speaking. These conversations are meant to preserve a spoken history of Central Texas Masonry, where it has been, where it stands today, and where it may be heading in the years ahead. This podcast is not official in any capacity. It is not endorsed by, sanctioned by, affiliated with, or representative of any Masonic, Blue Lodge, Grand Lodge, or appendant body. Any suggestion that it is would be a misunderstanding. All discussions here are untiled, shared on the level, and intended for general listening. Nothing more, nothing less. With that said, make yourself comfortable, take a steady breath, and join us as we begin today's episode.
It's another lovely day here in Waco, Texas at the Fidelis Lodge 1127. I'm here with Brother Corey Page, and it's going to be another one for the books. We're going to get into his life, his background, and just show you what the life of a Mason is. And Brother Corey, the floor is yours.
Well, my name's Corey Page. I'm a 10-year Mason. I'm a past master of John Armstrong 291, Fidelis 1127, White Rock number 347, and Riesel 835. And I pro-temmed 1 year in Riesel as master, so I had 5 years as master of a lodge.
That's cool. That's cool.
I'm also a past EDGM from 2000 and Golden Trowel recipient from White Rock.
Well, look at you. You got it good all over. That's an ideal Mason in my book because I haven't gotten that high up. But let me ask you, where are you from, if you don't mind telling us? Give us a little background.
I was actually born in St. John's, Michigan, which is kind of appropriate for a Mason. And I ended up raised in Arizona. I don't know much about Michigan. I was like 2 years old when they moved me over to Arizona. It was a really nice place to grow up in the 80s. I came to Texas about 13 years ago. Mm-hmm. I love Texas, and I don't plan on leaving.
That's good stuff. Good. But where did you go to school at? Like, from elementary to high school?
Well, I started off in a little private school. It was a Presbyterian school, actually.
Was that in Michigan or Arizona?
That was in Arizona.
Okay.
I ended up going to school in Queen Creek, and then I graduated in Apache Junction, Arizona, on the side of the Superstition Mountains where I lived.
Okay. I've never heard of that. I've never heard of that town.
Well, here in Texas, you don't hear much about mountains, but unless you get kind of west.
Yeah. And well, with that, with everything, the school, did you go to college?
I did a little bit of trade school for a while. I worked on airplanes for a little bit.
Okay.
So I did a little airframe work, aluminum, mostly for the airplane structure. I thought I'd get into maybe counseling or something like that in community college, and then I ended up having the opportunity to do an apprenticeship for the airplanes, so I took advantage of that.
Well, what kind of degree did you need for that?
It was really just a certificate. It wasn't really a degree, kind of like a trade school would be today.
Oh, yeah. I get it, like a TSTC.
Yeah.
What about growing up? Was there an influence that helped you become the man you are today? Apart from Mason, or with Masonry with it.
Yeah. Growing up, it was all about riding our bikes and dirt clod wars and drinking out of hoses and getting
the good old days.
Trying to stay out of trouble, be home before dark. It was pretty turnkey, as far as that was concerned. But my grandfather was a big influence on my life. Yeah. He came in and he just was a really kind man. Yeah. And he was really social. He talked to everybody. He knew everybody in town. Yeah. And he was into secondhand stuff, and he would take me to auctions and we'd buy stuff, and then we'd turn around and sell it at swap meets, or we'd go out and pick vegetables or fruit, and then we'd sell it on the side of the street. Mm-hmm. So Grandpa taught me a lot about life and about how to earn money and how to treat people. I'll always hold that pretty close.
I can tell by your characteristics, you're not any different than what you just explained. And, from what I know, that's what builds a good man, good Mason. And, you were molded just right. Out of everything that you learned, what do you think would be the strongest commodity that you have to give?
Well, I think that the strongest commodity in Masonry is brotherhood.
Yeah.
I think that helping each other, taking care of each other, being there for each other, it's the most important thing by far.
Yeah.
That's why when I was a master of Fidelis, I started the brotherhood program.
Yeah.
And that program benefited a lot of people along the way. Now we do a cause every year with it.
Well, what did the brotherhood program consist of? What was it built off?
Well, the idea was, to begin with, was that when somebody in the community is in need, we're pretty quick to do it.
Yeah.
But, we want to make sure we're taking care of us first.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what I feel. You got to have a strong core in order to do those things.
Yeah.
If you got guys that are helping each other and really care about each other, you got a strong core of guys, and you got a good vein of brotherhood running through it.
Yeah, of course.
Then you can accomplish a lot more.
Yeah.
And we don't want to see our brothers fall. We want to be there for them and help them as much as we can. And it's a cause that the first one we gave a brother a car.
Yeah.
That didn't have a car.
That's awesome.
That was the year I was master, and that was a pretty exciting meeting.
Well, but what sparked that thought to come up with that? What was it that made you say, "Hey, we need to start this up"?
Well, I think it was just kind of based in. I always thought about how we could grow the lodge and how we can make the lodge stronger. Yeah. And I think that focus on us, more especially a brother Mason, right?
Yeah, it's more special.
It's right in our work.
Yeah.
And I mean, we should be stewards of that.
Yeah.
And try to help each other as much as we can.
And I could appreciate that, from the outside looking in, because, people don't generally just do that out of the kindness of their hearts, and, that's what this podcast is here for, to let people know that this is what it's about. This is what we do. And you do personify the, what we go by. And I'm proud to say, I love you as a brother, man. And, I like to model after that, because that's what we're supposed to grow to be. We're supposed to be able to do that on an everyday basis with everybody, not just, the brothers of Masonry, but that, like you said, that's where it starts. So with everything that, you've already gone through so far, how does it blend in with family life?
Oh, I was glad you came to that, because I was actually thinking that while you were talking.
Yeah.
I think that we need to incorporate our families in Masonry, more so than we probably do. And it's not a complaint. I'm just encouraging our brothers to bring their wife to the meeting and have dinner.
Yeah.
The wives used to sit out there, and when my wife was alive, she would come and the girls would do crafts together and play games together. Yeah. They made shirts that said Mason's wives and stuff. And I mean, they just made it really fun for them.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've also got the D-Malay for the boys and the Rainbow Girls for the girls. There's a lot to benefit from in the family. And just like in Lodge, that we learn to publicly speak well, because we talk in front of each other and we do parliamentary procedure. They teach the kids that as well. And I've seen some really well-spoken, articulate young men in D-Malay. And girls that are in the Rainbow Girls. I mean, it's really fantastic what they're doing with them.
Yeah. And besides you personally, have you seen that kind of fellowship with bringing the family in, involving them with the surroundings of Masonry? Have you seen an improvement, a change in other people's, structures? Like how they gonna have you? Like have you ever noticed anything different, like with their families being around, instead of just the brother?
Well, any place that was too good for my wife to be there was too good for me to be there.
Yeah.
I mean, I just try to incorporate, because we only have so much spare time.
Yeah.
And, you know, we got our 24-inch rule, you know what I mean, that we go by to gauge our time. And, you know, that time of refreshment that we're in when we're here, you know, I mean, like, it needs to include your family if at all possible.
Yeah, amen, amen. And if there's something that you could tell somebody that's listening, what they can gain from it, if they have any questions from it, like, you know, what is it that you could tell them that we could give that they don't know?
Well, it makes it a lot easier for you to come to Lodge if your wife's excited about coming to Lodge. If she wants to come and see the other wives, and she's happy that she's a part of something also, you know, I mean, we also have Eastern Star, of course, but I'm talking specifically about our lodges.
About, you know, the fellowship. You know.
And you know, what would be so bad about having dinner with your wife and, you know, your brother's wife?
Yeah.
You know, and everybody kind of gets to know each other. And this makes it more possible for other activities throughout the month, rather than just meeting here for dinner. You know, like maybe you guys will have a barbecue somewhere, or somebody's got a boat and you go out on a boat with them, or I mean, there's just, it sets it up. Maybe you go golfing together. I mean, whatever activities you like, you can do that now that the wives are good at being your calendar.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. You know, not being married, like, is what part does the wife play? You know, as far as maybe improving you as a brother, like.
Oh, big time. You know, I say this in a non-joking way.
Yeah.
But like, you learn patience.
Well, it's hard not to laugh.
And and you learn to love deeper.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, I never had children, but I could only imagine.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, even deeper how that could go.
Yeah.
You know, but like, we're given a gift in having a wife.
Yeah.
And a lot of people think that, you know, the nagging or the whatever, it's all love.
Yeah.
It's all because they care about you, that they're trying to help you be better.
Yeah.
You know, women are more intuitive and men are more logical.
So you would say that's what maybe made you a better Mason?
Well, it definitely helped to have that support there.
Okay.
You know, and someone to talk to. I mean, obviously not about Lodge business, know, that we're not allowed to speak about, but just in daily life stuff. I mean, it's a good thing to have a companion that's on the same page as you.
Yeah, I agree. So how long have you been a Mason? How long has been your tenure?
10 years.
10 years? 10 years?
10 years of tenure.
10 years of tenure. Me and you both.
Hey.
Yeah, me and you both.
How about that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, December was my 10 year.
Was it?
Yeah.
September.
Huh.
For me.
You got me beat?
Yeah, last year.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, when it comes to Masonry, what do you feel is maybe your best favorite accomplishment that, you know, you've done within Masonry, that you look back at it and you say, you know what, I accomplished that?
Well, when I first came in, I was taught by Brother George Posey, who was a past master of this lodge.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a fantastic man. He was my next door neighbor. And he taught me the chairs. He taught me everything.
Yeah.
And he's passed away now. He's no longer with us.
Mm-hmm.
And but I learned a lot from him about Masonry, and tried to apply a lot of that. He was a superintendent of schools.
Yeah.
And an educator.
Here, like here in the Waco ISD, or?
Yeah, in the Waco area.
Okay.
It was out to Riesel.
Oh, okay.
And he was in the Penelope area, up kind of where Willie Nelson's neck of the woods.
Yeah, over there, Abbott.
Yeah, he showed me his house. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So you would say that that's your,
well,
like, the best memory?
That was one memory. Yeah, for sure, a really good memory. I think that he instilled, you know, as far as taking care of the kids and stuff. So when I was the master, I encouraged the lodge to name our scholarship program after him, and we did.
Oh,
so
okay.
It's the George F. Posey Scholarship Fund that we say every year. And they give a little piece of information about George every year to keep his spirit alive in the lodge.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome because you learn something new every day. Because I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I knew that was the name of it, but I didn't know that backstory. So that's good to know.
Yeah. We also have Brother David Everett, who's in Lodge, and he's also really into education, superintendent of schools out in McGregor.
Yeah.
And he's also a fantastic brother that does stuff for the kids and everything for the kids. So he's another good one that we have now with us today. And we've done a lot lately to support the Head Start locally. I remember a couple years ago, each of the children got a bicycle.
Wow.
And they brought in pictures, but I didn't even need to see the pictures.
Yeah.
I know what that kid experienced when he got that bike.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome.
That was everything for me when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I could only imagine,
Yeah, that's a good feeling to see, a child without to actually receive, and because it's an honest reception.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. I know what you mean. And what quality do you have now that you gained from Masonry that you didn't think you had before?
Well, I think that I've become more charitable with my time and also in encouraging other people. I mean, we have interactions with people that may only be 15 seconds for the most part, maybe 10 seconds.
Yeah.
What can I do in that time to create a positive experience or to better that person's life?
Yeah.
Like we're to relieve the suffering of all mankind if at all possible, and encourage each other as brothers, and these little exchanges we have in the meetings. I mean, sometimes, to be honest, and I'm sure that everybody's experienced this, you're kind of tired, maybe you've worked a lot, and maybe I'll just turn in early and not go to Lodge tonight.
Yeah.
But instead, I grab my stuff and go to Lodge, and after I'm done, I have a feeling that I'm grateful that I decided to go.
Yeah.
It was good to see my brothers. It was encouragement that carried me through the rest of the week.
Yeah, and that's something that I'm learning now. And it began last year more so because I didn't look at it that way either, and that's one of the main reasons why I asked that question too, because there is a difference before you have a type of structure, because it's the brotherhood itself is something that you don't understand unless you're in it, because people don't generally just care about one another. And that's why whenever they say, you don't become friends, you become brothers. We don't come in and say, hey, what's up, friend? We're brothers now. So, that's something that I do understand. And, I like that. I like that.
Behold how good and pleasant it is for brothers to dwell together in unity.
Yeah. It is. Okay.
What an amazing thing, huh? Profound.
Can you repeat that?
Behold how good and how pleasant it is for brothers to dwell in unity. This is part of our work.
Yeah.
It's a Bible verse. And I think that that's pretty important here in what you're saying. We get something from this.
Yeah.
From being with like-minded people, with charitable people. Another really fine example in our lodge is the Cabeza brothers. Look at what they're doing with Love to the Rescue over there in the shrine.
Yeah.
They put on these big concerts, and they have the sportsman's banquet.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys are raising huge money for the kids.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, it's really impressive to me.
And I didn't even know that either, because they carry around a smile like.
They're doing big things over there.
Yeah.
And it's really great for the kids. And
yeah.
I mean, that's what we're here for. That's why we're Masons.
Yeah. I became a Mason because of the structure that I knew I needed. But I didn't know how deep that structure ran, because you don't think about it. Whenever it's like, getting thrown into a pool. And then once you start to, you start to paddle, then you start swimming. But you also know that if you start drowning, they're around you to help you make sure that you don't. And that's one thing I never really understood until I experienced it myself and saw how true Masonry is and how true the brothers are to each other. And once I saw it, I knew that I needed to do more, because it wasn't that Masonry expects more. I know I need to give more because they'll give everything they got.
Well, you'll see how, like, nothing just comes.
No.
You have to prepare a place for it first.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that this is kind of like one of these manifestation things.
Yeah.
Where I prepared a place in my heart first. What do we study in our work?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then I could become a Mason. You know, so in anything in life, you know, you prepare the place. I mean, it's first in the mind.
Yeah.
You know, another thing I like, kind of a quote with that, is the lips of wisdom are closed except to the ears of understanding. And this is pretty profound in Hermetic philosophy.
Yeah.
And like, you have to be a seeker before you become a finder.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you're not looking for something, I mean, you're just waiting for it to hit you.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's important that we try to seek out the things that we want in life, and learn the experiences and all the different feelings and things. That's why we're here, I think.
Yeah.
As a spirit, you can't really do tangible things.
Yeah.
Here we can. You can taste things, you can experience, you know, physical touch and different things.
Yeah.
And
the true gift of life, basically. Yeah. And I love it. I love it here. You know what? You know, I've asked a lot of questions, you know, but that kind of all circle to the same thing. But like, what does Masonry mean to you? Just with that question, like the whole output, like, what does it mean to you? Is that everything you just said, or is there more to it?
Well, I think that when I first became a Mason, I looked at the furniture of the lodge. I looked at the stuff in the lodge.
Mm-hmm.
One of the first things I did was study the pillars. And when you look at what the pillars actually mean, and why they're there, it kind of leads you down a rabbit hole of a lot of things. And everybody's entitled to believe how they want. I wouldn't push any of that, and I know that there's a little disclaimer at the beginning of our speech here. But these things are really profound and really here for a reason. Mm-hmm. We walk into lodge and we pass by these things and we might not give it thought. Yeah. But they're very meaningful. Mm-hmm. And
very true.
That Bible verse earlier I said about brothers dwelling in unity, this goes right to the allegory of King Solomon's temple. Yeah. Because you had Hiram, king of Tyre, and you had Hiram Abiff, and you had King Solomon, mm-hmm. who was king of the Jews. The other two were Phoenician. Okay. So basically, why would we build a temple together if we served a different God? It's an interesting thing. So basically, in the Bible, you had the Elohists. The El was the God, one God, mm-hmm. and then there was people that served the Elohim, which were the gods. Yeah. Well, the supreme God to the Phoenicians was El. Mm-hmm. Doesn't that sound familiar? Yeah. So maybe we were building a temple to the same God. Yeah. And maybe we were able to dwell in unity. Yeah. The Bible talks about a lot of war. Mm-hmm. But how good and great it was to be able to dwell in unity. Yeah. Amen. And this is what we take as Masons. Yeah. It doesn't matter what religion you are. I don't care if you're a Buddhist, a Jew. I don't care if you're a Hindu or a Muslim. Yeah, none of that matters. When you put your hand on that book and you take upon yourself the same obligation as me, mm-hmm. you're now my brother. Amen. And I truly believe that at heart, too. So, and that's why I'm proud to be a Mason. And I can tell just by your whole demeanor right now, you're just as proud, if not more. You take it for all of us. So what inspired the desire to become a Mason? Well, the first time I was a prison guard. I had an opportunity to join the lodge in Arizona. Okay. But my shift I was working, I would have never been able to go to a lodge meeting. I was on swing shift.
Oh yeah, I
So,
know that one.
What was his last name? Parker, brother Ron Parker in Arizona.
Okay.
And I had talked to him about Masonry a little bit because I saw a square and compass on him.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me what the lodge was about. And he was a past master there somewhere in Arizona.
Yeah.
And it always kind of stuck with me. And then I got here, and I was in the truck. I was working at a paving company here locally with a brother named D. Freeman. And he was out of Valley Mills, Texas. And he passed away about 5 years back.
Okay.
But he was a really good brother.
From this lodge or another one?
No, he was from John Armstrong out in
okay.
Valley Mills. But we were doing a job one day, and we passed by the Grand Lodge of Texas. And I said, that's the Masons building, isn't it? And he said, yeah. And he asked me what I knew about Masonry. And from there, I ended up getting a petition.
That's how it goes.
And that's how I became a Mason.
That's awesome. It's awesome. You know, had to get that little backstory because you know that's one of the questions one of the main questions I like to ask.
Sure.
You know, because there's always that spark for the desire to do something. So you know that's an interesting thing. What would you tell, for the man you are now, what would you tell 18-year-old Corey that he didn't know then?
I wouldn't tell him anything. I would experience life the way I experienced it. I think that I've had those kind of thoughts, but I think we're stealing time that way.
Okay.
Like, I wouldn't be the person I was today if it wasn't for the person I was yesterday. And I think that if you can try to be a better person every day,
Amen.
That's really what the goal is. You know, self-improvement, it's kind of left path, but it can become right path, you know, to where you can apply those things that you learned and help others. Because, I mean, all the big philanthropists that you ever heard of, I mean, they weren't people that were on the streets that didn't have nothing. They were people that made a lot of money and then gave back to the community. So we don't all have the luxury of being rich, but we do have our time, and we can learn and then apply that to help other people.
Yeah, well, I believe, you know, my personal view, I believe that time is more of a virtue than money or anything else because not all of us have that.
Right.
So I think that's the biggest currency because that's something you can't get back.
Well, all the rich people are trying to buy time.
And look, they're wasting it trying to do it. Okay, so for the younger Masons that are coming in, what advice would you give them that, you know, you think would be an asset for them to really grasp the ideology of Masonry?
When I was a master of the lodge, I would open up in an EA every meeting. I think that we need to bring those brothers under our wing. They're as much a Mason as us, you know. I mean, they're a brother from the time they took that obligation.
Yeah.
And it's sad to see some fall through the cracks. I mean, it's happened to me. It's probably happened to other brothers, you know, where you bring somebody in and you try. But the more that you can get them involved and the more that you can get them communicating with several brothers, I mean, like, I don't think we should covet a person to teach them the work. Like, spread it out, let everybody talk with them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And make them part of our community. And that there will give them the sense of belonging.
True. But how would you tell that, you know, what another brother would call baby Masons? How would you tell the newbie basically how to accept all that? Because when just for example, whenever I was a brand new Mason, I would sit at the table alone, and they'd be like, "Nope, come here, come sit down." You know, they really had to drive it into me that you're not alone here. You know, and the way that I took it, and you know, because no one really told me, they just showed me. So, like, I guess what I'm asking is like, if you're sitting down with me, and I just came in, what would you tell me
Well,
for me to actually grasp the idea of, look, this is what it is?
sure. I would say that it's as much of a personal journey as it is the community experience. So we're able to communicate with each other and help each other along.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you kind of got to work on yourself and try to become that person. There's no real blueprint for what exactly a Mason is. I mean, we all come from different walks of life. We all have something different to give. But it's just trying to apply yourself as much as you can is what I would want them to do, or what I would tell them to do, and learn as much as you can on your own too.
Okay. Well,
you're not just a Mason when you're in lodge.
Yeah.
You're a Mason when you leave here too.
yeah. And I used to hear that a lot too, and I never got it. But because the way I took it was, you're a gentleman here, you're a gentleman out there, but it's beyond just being a gentleman.
We have a light. To hide that light is a great sin, I think.
Yeah.
Like you should try to aid people as much as you can and relieve the suffering. Like I said, we can do a lot for the community.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty important.
Yeah. I'm with you on that one, because before I became a Mason, one thing is, I asked, what does Masonry really mean to me? And before you petition and you're watching the internet, you get the wrong idea. And then when everything that we talked about, then I got up to par with not everything, but to what I know that is important, to the whole structure is, what, like they say, you make a good man better.
Sure.
And there's so many things that go with that. And it, in the words of Brother Doug, it's a beautiful thing. And it really is, man. And this is why we have these interviews, and this is why, I ask all these questions, because people should understand, that Masonry is not what you see on TV or on the internet and all that stuff. Do your research. Really find out the lives of, the real brothers that, live it. When we try to go out there and spread the message, it is faith, charity. That's so we live by,
Well, that's our responsibility. I mean, that verse in the Bible, it said you'll know them by their fruit.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
tree by its fruit,
the things that we do, I mean, like, that's the way that people are going to know what we're about. I mean, words talk, numbers scream. Like what you actually do is more important than what you talk about doing.
Amen. Because that's what shows. That's what shows who you really are. You really don't have to see to believe, but it's better that you do. So, in closing, is there any message that you can give to the world, that, just in general, anything, is there something that you hold within yourself, your heart, that if you could just tell everybody this one thing, what would it be?
Well, backed up by our holy texts, the Bible.
Yeah.
Jesus was asked what was the most important of the 10 Commandments, and he answered, love the Lord your God and love your neighbor.
Amen.
So basically, the law is love. The new law was love under Jesus. And I think that spreading that friendship and brotherly love is the most important thing in Masonry, and maybe the most important thing in life. You don't have to be a Mason, Love your family, love your wife, you can create heaven or you can create hell right here.
Yeah.
So why not create heaven? Try to live a happy life, and I've heard it put this way: we carry around a backpack, and we can put however many rocks we want in it.
Yeah.
Or we can take them out. That's our journey. Like it's never too late to take some rocks out of your backpack. You know, go back and ask forgiveness. You know, when you've done somebody wrong. You know, like be humble.
Amen.
You know,
Amen.
You make yourself small to make yourself big.
Mm-hmm. And that
people respect that.
And the forgiveness starts with self, because you can't forgive nobody else, can't forgive yourself.
No.
So that is a strong message, and I do appreciate hearing that. And anybody that's listening, I hope that they would too, because it means a lot. It means a lot. But thank you for today. It was an awesome interview. I'm glad to know more about you. I'm glad to know more about how you think. It's very intriguing. We learn new things every day, and I hope anybody listening learns something from this, because it's very educational for the life of a Mason. Anybody that has any questions, but like I said, it was an honor. Thank you, Brother Corey, and that's a wrap.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yes, sir, brother.
Like and subscribe.
That was a great way to end it.